Welcome to the Dr. Ed Show. I'm Dr. Edmund Sulkowski. We have a wonderful show for you today. We have with us my good friend Jessie Klepsic and my good friend Kara Anthony. And they're here with Angels and Animals with two of their good friends. Who do we have here, Jess?
We have.
Well, I guess Kara's going to answer that because Jess is not talking.
Our gold little guy here is Finn, and our white, silver, and gold little guy here is Royce.
Okay, so what kind of dogs are these?
These are both Shih Tzu puppies. They're almost 5 months old.
And you birthed those puppies?
Yes,
Or
in my
yelped?
home. Whelped,
Whelped.
yes, yes. I'm a little past
I
that
guess
age.
you didn't give birth to them, Kara,
No,
but yeah,
exactly.
you know what I meant.
Exactly. No, I whelped them at my home. The mom came in, and she was in early stages of pregnancy, which we had no concept of or no clue. So,
So
sorry
you,
to suspect.
what happened is you had rescued a dog and found when you brought the dog home, the dog was pregnant.
After a few weeks, I started noticing and suspecting, and she probably was about 10 days to 2 weeks pregnant when she came into rescue, so no one had any idea. But I started catching on and basically made changes, thinking that I was going to have a litter.
So had you done that process before whelping?
Yes, I had, thanks to Jessie. Yes.
So Jessie founded Angels for Animals. Tell us a little bit about that, Jess.
I was trying to look up the date this morning because you always ask me that question. I always say 25 plus years. It's still 25 plus years.
And what motivated you to found?
There was a need. There was a really drastic need to help the dogs.
So I know, I've known you for a long time, and I know you know Angels. So how did you come up with Angels for Animals? I'm kidding.
You know what? God works in strange ways. And this was, in the beginning, there were 3 of us, okay? And at that time, I volunteered at the Humane Society. And the third person, because you know Chris, my partner now, she didn't like me being affiliated with the Humane Society, so she said she's out. I said, whatever. But we were sitting around one night and we were trying to think of names, and I came up with a name. It just came to me, and that was it.
And it's actually a pretty good name. That's an appropriate name because you have been an angel for the dogs for all these years.
Thank you.
And there have been many dogs that have found wonderful homes because of the work that you've done. And it's no easy task because you're doing this on your dime.
Right.
So tell us how you support Angels for Animals.
Well, we do sell the Enjoy book come October, November. We have jewelry that a friend of ours makes for us that have the the paw prints in them, and it's called a Rainbow Bridge bracelet. Very pretty. And then we do take donations. I don't get a lot of donations. There are a few during the year, but mainly I pay for it myself.
And then you actually even collect aluminum cans in order
Oh yes,
to...
I collect aluminum cans and take them to the crusher. In fact, I'm due to go.
Yeah, so you have a garage full of bags of aluminum
Well,
cans.
right now they're outside.
Are they?
Yeah, Pete said clean out the garage. So I'm trying.
And so all these years, you've been taking in these animals and finding homes for them. So what's the process in finding a home for the dogs?
It's very difficult, but we have a certain criteria that every adopter has to meet. We do have a contract you have to sign.
Okay, so let's do this step by step. So you have this dog, for example. What's the name, Kara?
This is Royce.
Royce.
Royce. So he knows his name. So Royce is up for adoption, and so is Finn. And hi, Finn. They both know their names, so
Absolutely.
I guess we're going to probably keep those names on with adoption, probably.
We hope, but people do change.
Well,
them.
I had 5 of what I call Jessie dogs, and only one did we keep the name. I changed the names on all of them because I didn't like the names you gave them.
Well, some of them came with a name, so
Yeah, but they pick up that name instantly.
they do.
So somebody wants Royce, and they know that Royce is available, so they call up Angels for Animals. What's that number they call?
724-941-5737.
And what's the next step?
Okay, when people call, I always have my notepad there. First, I find out where they live, if they have an in-house dog now, a secure in-the-ground fence, and not electric. It has to be an actual fence. And then I go on and ask more personal things as,
Well,
job.
we want
and-
to talk about some of those things that you're going to ask. What's the reason you wanted a physical fence as opposed to an electrical fence?
They're little dogs. If you have an electric fence, anything can come in and get them.
And that's the thing. And even your own dog, I see these electrical fences fail all the time. And I'll see a dog take that shock to leave the yard, but never take that shock to come back in.
Exactly.
For a couple of years, I had 2 labs that always came to my house, and the lady would come and she'd be so upset. Those dogs got out of the electric fence again. But what they would do, they're very smart. And people they underestimate the intelligence of the animal.
Yeah.
They go right up to the fence and they can feel that little buzz and they sit there until they don't feel the buzz. And they know they drained the battery. And zip, gone.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I never thought about
Yeah,
that.
and she always knew where to, she'd call me first. Yeah.
And you mentioned these are little dogs, and the biggest mistake people make, in my opinion, with their little dogs is they leave them outside on their own in the yard.
Wrong.
And why is that wrong, Jess?
The hawks, the owls, and the eagles are looking for food. And where do you think they're looking? They're looking at your dog.
Looking at these tiny
Yeah.
little dogs. And not only is that, there's coyotes.
Now there are, yeah.
And there's also bigger dogs that
We chew them up.
can be aggressive
Oh, yeah.
and attack these little dogs, and they have no defense.
No.
So you really got to be conscious of what you're doing with your dog.
Absolutely.
And hawks over here are a problem. So are owls.
Right at night.
Well, they're out in the daytime too.
They do.
People don't realize it. Owls are out
they are.
during the day, and I know. And one of the neighborhoods that I lived in, and they said to me was I was walking my little doxies. Boy, there's always hawks on my fence. And I said, that's because of your 2 little dogs. They're waiting for lunch. And she went, never thought of that. Well, yeah, you got to think of that.
Yeah, we do go over that in the conversation.
Yeah. So you have a list of criteria. You want to. You talked about a fence, having
Another
a dog
dog.
or not having another dog. What's that about?
Well, just like people, they need a buddy. They need a companion. They need somebody to play with, more to their age, not a real old dog. Because old dogs won't play. Like these guys are high players.
So you won't release a dog to someone who doesn't have another dog?
No. These dogs would go to a corner and sit there, and that would be the end of it. They have to have interaction. And just like kids, they have to have other kids to play with.
Okay. So what about a family that has other kids? Have children?
There's an age limit. 12.
Well,
10 to 12.
so if you have younger children, you don't want to release a dog to?
No, because they don't know how to handle a dog. They'll pull the ears, punch it, throw it, whatever. There are a few exceptions, but not many.
So you're doing basically an interview for the potential home for these dogs. So you're talking initially on the phone because that's first contact.
Correct.
Then you go and meet these people.
Well, after I go through that list, I call Kara and I say, okay, John Brown's called me. This is the criteria. Sounds pretty good. She'll call him and talk to him. She'll ask other information a little bit different than I ask. But you have to listen to what they're telling you, because they will tell you everything you want to know, and you don't have to ask. So then she'll call me back. Well, we can consider this, they have that, and we should talk to them. Okay? I call them back and say, okay, now I need a vet reference, groomer, and 3 personal friends before you even see the dog.
Gee, I don't even think I have 3 personal friends.
Not anybody's going to stick up for you, that's for sure. No, that's a lie. But anyhow, then I call everybody. I get the feel for the family or the person calling or whatever. And I had one time, I called the brother of the sister that called me for a dog, and he said, excuse me, absolutely not. I didn't adopt her.
Okay, so you're really scrutinizing where this dog's going to go. Why aren't you like every other agency that can't wait to get rid of their dog because they got more dogs coming? Because I know you have them coming all the time.
Because they come back, and my contract says I take them back if there's a problem.
Yeah, we'll
want them in
talk about that in a little bit. I want to still focus on you finding a home for these dogs.
Okay.
So most of these rescue agencies are just happy to find a home for their dog. And,
Correct.
And they're not concerned about what
That's right.
all this other criteria are. Why did you come to this conclusion that you need to be concerned about that?
For the fact that I didn't want the dog coming back, I want them to have a permanent home.
And you've seen cases where these things that you're questioning were influenced them not keeping the dog, or the dog having not a quality of life at the home. And after all these years, you came up with your contract.
We put a lot of time in our dogs. We get them in, we take care of them. The vet does the medical work. Kara does a lot of personality things with the dogs. And every dog is different. And she finds that out when she takes the dogs, and my other foster homes too,
Yeah, I was just about to ask. So Kara is a foster home, a care provider.
Yes. Yes.
So you take in these dogs that Jessie
Drops off to me.
drops
Yes.
off to you, and then you kind of groom them and analyze them so that you know what an appropriate family or what an appropriate household they should go to.
Right, and that's the whole thing, that when I do the interview, I'm living with the animal, so I know the specific quirks of that particular animal. So maybe it's something that, for instance, with these guys, they all need a small breed companion dog. I get calls all the time for Dobermans that look really cute with a Shih Tzu or Yorkie. Well, that dog is way too big, and even if the dog's very gentle, just a paw can break their backs. These are delicate dogs. They're very small. These ones will only be maybe 12, 15 pounds full grown. And you put that against a 100-pound dog, there's a big difference there. And people don't realize it. And I'll tell them, it's not your dog, but it's just that size difference. And these little guys are playful. They're going to get in that dog's face, and they're going to shake it on because they don't know any better, and they're not going to learn until they get hurt.
So, as you said, every dog has a different personality, and do you keep that mentally in your head, their personalities, or do you actually write down, this dog does this dog does that?
No, they live with me. They're free with me. They live with me. They sleep in bed with me. They move into my home, and they become part of my family. So we don't adopt out fast because we need time to see what the dog's going to be like. So
when these were whelped at your home,
yes.
you actually were there 24 hours a day taking care of them.
Yes, that, and I had to help deliver them for the mom.
Boy, it's got
We
to
had
be
problems.
It's got to be definitely difficult to give them up.
It's okay. I love them dearly, but I just got a picture last night of some of my adopters from an adopter with a couple of dogs that they've adopted over the years, and sent me a picture. They were at the beach. I don't even get a vacation. My dogs were enjoying a vacation. So it's wonderful to see with that. My purpose is not to keep them. My purpose is to help them get to a point that they can now find their permanent life. And I love the updates. And the only thing that has to stay is something that truly is not adoptable for some reason. There's a bad medical condition or something like that. Then Jessie and I talk about what's the best thing for the animal at that point. But that's the very, very rare minority with that.
So Finn and Royce.
Royce.
What is it?
Royce.
Royce are from the same litter.
Yes, they're brothers.
And are you trying to find a home for them to go together?
They can go together, but they don't have to. So it depends. It's an option, but they're not so bonded that they can't be separated with that.
Because I've had two dogs that were from the same. Each pair were from their individual litters, and they didn't function when they were separated.
Yeah, these ones, because the animals are in my home, I have them living with the other foster animals. I have my own cats that I've rescued, so they're living in among everything, and I've purposely put them in with everybody when they got big enough so that they wouldn't be so bonded that they couldn't be separated.
Yeah.
So they do great together, but they also can be separated.
I mean, I had Zach and Zoe that were like yin and yang. They actually like curled and slept together.
Yeah.
And when Zach came to me first, and then he was a wreck until Zoe showed up.
We've had a couple pairs that were bonded when they came into rescue that had to go together, and we did put them together. But with these boys, while they're great together, so if someone doesn't have any animals, but the big question is, can you handle two puppies? Because puppies are a lot more work than adult dogs, and that's one of the things people aren't realizing, that they're going to need a lot of time. They're going to need training. I do have them in crates now and got them used to that when I'm out, but you can't put a puppy in a crate for 5-8 hours a day.
No, they've got too much energy, and
Correct.
they want to explore too much.
Correct. So, you know, but I work them towards those things. So my role was to take them from preconception, or from conception, I should say, when they were in the womb, to getting them to a point that now they're ready, they're eating regularly, they can do meals, they don't have to be fed around the clock, they're, you know, those types of things.
So at what age do you give them up?
It depends upon the animals, but typically with these small breeds, we look at about 14 to 16 weeks is when we put them up for adoption. These guys have been up for adoption for, since they were 14 weeks old.
But you're not really out there advertising. This is the first time they're making their debut appearance on Dr. Ed's show, huh?
That is true. That is true.
So do they already have all their shots and all of that?
They have their shots. They're too young to be neutered, but when they're 6 months old, I have the end of September. I have their neuters already scheduled. So an adopter can take them. We do spay-neuter contracts when the animals go out, when they can't be already neutered, when they're young like this. And at that point, then we follow up and they bring them back to our vet to get the spay or neuter done. And then that is part of their adoption fee.
And again, that's all on Angels for Animals and
Yes.
Jessie Klepsic, huh?
Yes. Yes.
So you're fostering, you provide the care, the home, the training,
The love.
the love,
The handling.
and Jessie provides.
She provides the medical. She provides for the food for them, and anything else. If I do need something, you know, with that, we share things and do things. So we see what they need with each animal.
Yeah, and trust me, puppies are very expensive.
Yes.
Yeah, they are, absolutely they are. Dogs in general are.
Yeah.
People don't think about it. And I think when people were going through this COVID scare thing and losing their jobs and shutting down, a lot of animals ended up coming into the rescue agencies because people couldn't afford to take care of them anymore.
Well, this little guy alone, I picked up on when he started to go into aspiration pneumonia. We had an over $700 bill one evening for an emergency vet because by the morning he would have been critical. They're that tenuous, and that being a small breed, he was 5 weeks old.
So I am like extremely familiar with dachshunds. I am not extremely familiar with these mops that you have sitting here. So what's the breed again?
This is the Emperor's dog. It's not a mop.
Yeah, okay.
The Shih Tzu
No,
is the Emperor's
cute.
dog.
They're very cute, Jess. Don't get
Yeah.
don't get
You're not a
defensive.
mop. No, you're not.
Until Jessie, I did not have Shih Tzus. Now I've had a number of Shih Tzus come through, but they are very loving, loyal companion dogs, but they want to be with you. They don't want to be in the corner. They don't want to be ignored. They are family, and they're meant to stay with you.
That's the way
and
all
work
my
with you.
dachshunds are. I've had like 14
Yeah.
dachshunds in my life, and
Yeah,
they were all
Exactly.
like
Yeah.
that. They're definitely lap dogs, and I would imagine these are very much the same way.
Yes, these ones, and especially the beauty of what's happened here is the fact that I can actually raise them from the moment they were born. So I was able to handle them and not have. Sometimes we have puppies that come in that have been, abused.
Oh yeah, I've had
so
a few
that's
of
not,
those.
yeah, neglected, whatever. So this way, they have been hand raised, and I worked on everything to make sure that they weren't afraid. They get groomed. They like the hair dryers. They're good with grooming and things with that because I had the opportunity to do so.
What about brushing their teeth?
I have not brushed their
There's not
teeth
too
yet, but
many
their
in there
teeth
yet,
are very
yeah.
good right now with that. But you can. I've played with their mouths and things for that, and put my fingers in their
We
mouth.
can look
and
at them. Yeah.
Yeah,
With
this is the time you want to get them to brush their teeth because that's so critical because all disease starts in the mouth. It starts with gum disease and inflammation.
Yeah, I listened
and
to your
all that.
program.
Yeah, you listen. You listen to my program. So problem with dogs and brushing their teeth is they want to fight you when you do it. You know what I mean? And that process, once the disease starts and having to put them under anesthetic, general anesthetic, is somewhat risky.
Yeah, and Shih
And-
Tzus are not
and
noted for good
expensive.
teeth because they have an overbite and underbite. They have little teeth. They fall out.
It's kind of sort of like they kind of ran into a glass door, sliding glass
Yeah,
door a
the-
little bit, but
that is actually one of the issues that can be with them because they're brachycephalic dogs. The issues they can have is with the eyes. They can get ulcers more easily because their eyes are so close to things. And the other issue is the breathing, where they have a heavy coat, so they will start to pant.
it's a
With
big
that.
medical term, brachiocephalic. I
Not
just-
like your boxers or
I had
anything
spent
like
I
that.
had
Yes.
spent $100,000 to learn that term. But they have very tiny teeth, and small dogs don't have much bone holding those teeth in, so it's easy for them to lose those teeth. That's why it's so important.
I can tell you, as puppies, my fingers are in their mouth a lot, not by choice, but yes. So
Yeah,
they're used to it.
even just taking a 2x2 and wiping the teeth down helps. You know, what are some of your techniques? Because I know Jessie's real on top of keeping the dog's
yeah,
mouth
right.
clean. Oh, she has you have your own dental scalers. I've seen them.
Yeah, well, I don't use them too often. Dogs don't like to have all that
They
crap
don't.
in their mouth. You know.
Yeah.
So you just have to sneak it in and sneak it out real quick.
And I make sure that they have good hard things to chew on that are safe, that aren't going to break the teeth, but that they're getting a lot of chewing also to keep the tartar from building up, and they're chewing hard food.
And
Also,
as you
which
know, we
helps.
do talk about the food a lot when we talk to people.
Why is that important, Jess?
Well, would you eat junk?
Occasionally.
Well, but you know what I'm saying.
You get to
don't-
choose, they don't.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here's the problem, Jess. The commercial food is based on economy, so it's based on cost, and they feed dogs grain-based, sugar-based foods. When dogs can't process grain and or sugar, they're meat eaters. They can get away with eating a little bit of vegetables, a little bit of fruits, unlike a cat, but most of this commercial food is just garbage.
I talk to everybody I interview about food, and when I'm done, they say to me, I am so glad I called you. I have learned so much in our conversation.
Yeah.
But we go over the, you know, the Hoxie Owls and the Eagles, and we go over the food.
Yeah, it's really interesting that it is an easy technique. Whatever food you buy, there's an ingredient panel, which is somewhat important, but there's actually a nutritional panel, and it'll say protein, ash, or fiber. They mix the two terms. It'll say moisture, and it'll say fat. And you get percentages, and you add those 4 percentages up, and let's just say, for example, it's 70%. Those 4 things I just mentioned. You take 100 and you subtract that 70% from there, whatever remains is sugar. So if you take, and I've seen this, where 70% of the remaining is sugar, and you're feeding your dog sugar, and a dog has no absolute ability at all to process sugar.
Right. So why did they get sick?
And why do they get sick? Why do
That's
you have
right.
then expensive? So some people say, well, I can only afford this food. Well, all of a sudden you're paying high vet bills. It'd be a lot cheaper to buy good food,
Right.
or make your own food, or buy quality commercial food.
And I get a lot of that too with the people I talk to on the phone. And they'll say, well, my last dog died at 16 or 17. I said, what were you feeding it? And a good bit of the time they were cooking for the dog. Yeah.
Well, look at how many years I've had all my dogs.
Yeah.
And I was cooking their food. You know, years ago, this was a long time ago, there was an article written about me, and it was in the 2 local papers, Pittsburgh and Washington papers, and it wasn't about dog food, and it was about me. And in the conversation, I made a comment about commercial food, and I got attacked by the commercial food industry.
Yeah.
So if you want to attack me, commercial food industry, I can defend myself. Go ahead.
Yeah.
There are some good commercial foods out there. You just have to know what you're getting.
Right.
And grains and what's the story? You were on the radio show, the Dr. Ed show, talking about this one day. There was a big push on grain-free food being bad for dogs because they were having heart problems because there was no taurine in the food.
Yeah. The
So
taurine is in the meat.
it's in the
I've
meat. There's
told
no
so
grain
many
that has
people that.
taurine in it.
The taurine is in the meat, not in the grain. And we silo our grains, and it picks up a fungus, and that is what messes with the immune system.
Yeah, well, taurine's really important, and it's only in animal products.
Correct.
Not one grain out there, yet there
Right.
was some vet on one of the TV stations talking about how important it was to have grain food and taurine.
Well, you know how I defend that? The vets are medical people, just like our doctors. And they don't have time to research all this material. So they depend on what you, as the dog food representative,
Well, that's
says
true. That's true.
coming
The
in.
pharmaceutical departments and
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Same
yeah.
thing. But if you don't know what you're talking about because you don't have the time to research it,
Yeah.
you're too busy making money.
Okay. Let's get back to these guys. We went on a little bit of a rampage over there, but that's part of what we do, huh? These two guys need a home. So what do we need to do to find a home for these
And
two
we have
dogs?
two more at home, our brothers
then there's
too.
two other
four
ones
all
that are-
together. Yeah,
Kind
they're
of
ready
look
to go.
similar.
Yes, he's the only gold one. The other two are the
like-
white and silver.
They're both beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and very well mannered. Look how content they are to sit here.
I am
Yeah.
shocked.
So, Jess,
Why?
so what do
Because
people
they're so
have to do?
quiet.
You're going to get a lot of people viewing this, and they're going to see these two little cute dogs. What do they have to do to bring them home?
Call me, 724-941-5737. I will talk to them and see if they can qualify. If they qualify, then we move on with the process. Once we have cleared all the references, we make an appointment with them. We go to their house. We do a visit. We take the dog and we visit their house. We make sure that they have told us the truth. They have a secure fenced yard. They have an in-house dog. The kids are old enough, and we sit down for at least an hour and go over everything. If they have any question at all, if the adoption goes through, they call Kara or me, and we can
Yeah,
give them
don't take that interview personal. I knew Jessie, and she still came to my house. I just accused her of being nosy, but she still came to the house to make sure that her dog, and I forget which one it was that I took, because I got 5 of your dogs eventually.
Well, you took Zach and Zoe, and you
Well,
took,
there was ones before Zach and Zoe. Who was that? Meg
Tucker, too.
Ryan.
Yeah.
Tucker, Meg
Yeah.
Ryan, Zach, Zoe, and
Yeah.
Abby.
Well, and
Yeah.
with these being puppies, because they're living with me, I can look in a home and I know what they're going to go for because I know what they're destroying in my home. So it's more about my educating the people and saying, hey, we need to move that. Can you move that? Can you fix this? You know, cover this plug, put these kinds of things.
Take the
Things they're not
plants
thinking
out.
about. Yeah, things they're not thinking
Because
about.
they chew wires. They do all
Absolutely.
kind of things.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Just
they're puppies.
give out that number again, Angels for Animals.
724-941-5737.
Yeah, I didn't really mean to focus so much on that food stuff, but we wanted to find homes for these cute little dogs over at Good Homes.
Right.
For what do you call them? Forever Homes.
Yes.
Forever homes. Yes, and I'm happy to put them in their forever homes. So
All right.
they will leave.
Kara Anthony, Jessie Klepsic, Angels for Animals. Thanks for coming on and showing everybody your two cute dogs.
Thank you.
And remember, you can listen to me live every Saturday morning at 9 o'clock, AM 1250, The Answer, the Dr. Ed Show. And
Sometimes
also-
I'm on there too.
so every once in a while. I'm also on rumble.com, and you just have to search Dr. Ed Show and then subscribe. And of course, share. We're on iTunes, we're on Spotify. You can go to all those sites. So we're out there spreading the word. And then this show, I think, besides being on CT7, is also on Vimeo and
Couple others.
YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, this was a nice casual conversation. I enjoyed it. And I thank you so much for bringing Royce and Finn. All right. Remember, healthy pet, happy pet. God bless. We'll talk to you next time.